Hi and thanks for joining me. I was right in the middle of my Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial videos and Spirit brought my attention to this lunar eclipse on the 15th and 16th of May. Now, it was my fault that I wasn't paying attention before and it's took till the last second to get my attention. I've looked into it and I do want to cover it here because I do believe it's going to be important. It could be very well be important for this trial. It could very well be important for the world as a whole. Is London Bridge going to fall? Are we going to have a big event? And also, how's this going to affect us individually and how best can we move forward? So let's not hang about. Let's get straight on with it. Now, I've got an incredible amount of information about this lunar eclipse, and looking at it now, as I'm recording now, I don't know whether this is going to be one video or two videos. We won't know until we get going, but I'm going to try and keep it as short and succinct, that's probably the wrong word, as possible, so we can squeeze it all into one video. But it may very well be that it rolls on into two videos because I want to look at the lunar eclipse and the possible outcomes of that, the other astrology around the lunar eclipse and how that affects it, key people in this situation and how the lunar eclipse is likely to affect those. And I also want to do a brief tarot read as well on this whole situation because I do want to be looking at the possible outcomes. And of course, it is always about possible outcomes. Nothing is set in stone and it all depends on the energy of the planet, the conscious group energy on the situation, and that can change from moment to moment. Now, like I've already said, the eclipse takes place on the 15th or the 16th of May, depending on where you live. Now, the eclipse is always a pinnacle point. There's influences, the shadow goes way before and way after, often with eclipses about a month before and several months after. However, when we get eclipses, it's a series of eclipses and we're well into eclipse season now, but this is a full moon eclipse. Now, as always with a full moon, expect lots and lots of raised emotions. However, these will be more intensified because of the fact that this is a lunar eclipse. It's also going to be more intensified because of the fact that it is in the sign of Scorpio, which is a very intense water sign. But this isn't just an accelerated full moon, is it? This is an eclipse, and eclipses are kind of like portals. They're kind of crossroads where you step through, or hopefully step through anyway, or make the decision to step through or not, into a new perception, a new energy, a new thought pattern. They're usually points where we move forwards in our path. And very often, and particularly in this case because of the other astrology that's going on around this eclipse, that in this particular case it's very likely to be moving us forward spiritually. And if we decide we're not going to step through that portal, they can often accelerate the events that push us to move through that portal. Now, this is very significant, not only personally, but also in terms of the collective movement forward into awakening. What's also significant, as I've already said, is that this lunar eclipse is in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is all about letting go, releasing, purging. Think about the symbol of Scorpio, the scorpion. It completely sheds its skin. The other symbol associated with Scorpio is the phoenix, rising anew from the ashes of the old. Scorpio can also be a very, very secretive sign as well. This eclipse is likely to be bringing those secrets to light, bringing all of the toxicity and the poisons and the old junk that we don't want anymore to the surface to be released. Now, this is important individually and once again collectively. It's very likely that we're not just going to be seeing this in our own personal lives, we're going to be seeing it reflected in the world around us as well. What's also important about this lunar eclipse is that it appears in the South Node, and once again the South Node is all about the past and letting go of the past, collectively letting go of the past. However, now, as you know, as I've already said, I was called to pay attention to what happened on the 12th of April, and obviously the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial started on the 12th of April. There was a lot of shifts in other people's lives as well around that date, and it was all about this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. Now, the effects of this are ongoing. It's still going on. What else is important is that on the 11th of May, Jupiter moves from Pisces to Aries. Now, as you can imagine, I'm sure, as you already know, I'm sure, Pisces is a very feminine sign. It's a very receptive sign. Whereas Aries is very forceful. It's the warrior. It's about movement. It's a fire sign. It's also the first sign of the zodiac, as I'm sure you're aware. And so once again, this speaks to fresh new starts. Now, astrology is only ever about possibilities. It doesn't override our free will. And the occurrences that happen are all going to be based, obviously, always on group consciousness and awakening. Obviously, we can look at the possibilities and we can hope that we're going to get the outcome that we want, and obviously that will influence the outcome, but obviously it's not always definite. It's not set in stone. What may influence this lunar eclipse or slow down any movement forward is the fact that Mercury is retrograde during this period. Now, as I'm sure you know, Mercury is all about communication, it's about travel and transport, and it's about technology. And isn't it funny that right after Mercury goes retrograde, the trial is put on hold for a week, and this makes me wonder whether this whole situation is going to delay this trial. Now, obviously, if we have a big event, it may stop this trial altogether. I don't know. I'm going to have a look at the cards later on and see what they say about this. Now, obviously, from what I've said already from the astrology, I'm sure you can imagine this indicates big changes, big awakening, big movement forward, portals, tipping points. And we can all hope as truthers, can't we, that people are going to be awakened by this, and that we are, if necessary, going to get this big event. And if we're looking at the big event, there are several people we're going to be looking towards, isn't there? One of these is obviously going to be President Trump. Another one is obviously going to be the Queen, because as I'm sure you're all aware, when there's an announcement about the Queen, it is a signal that we are moving forward with the awakening. Once we get that announcement that the Queen is dead, it is likely that we are going to be moving towards a big event, or at least a big disclosure about what's going on. Now, what's interesting about President Trump's chart is that during this lunar eclipse, the sun is conjunct the lunar eclipse, the moon. And as I'm sure you can imagine, the lunar eclipse conjunct the sun in a natal chart is all about changes in energy. The sun is all about shining our energy onto the world stage, obviously shining our energy onto the world around us. So we could perhaps hope that this is a stepping out of President Trump and the alliance, and hopefully the disclosures we've all been waiting for as well. The solar eclipse also affects the Queen's natal chart, and the solar eclipse occurs in the Queen's midheaven. When a lunar eclipse occurs in a natal midheaven, it's all about our position in the world, the way that we are represented, our status, the way that we're seen and present ourselves in the world. So I would wonder whether there would be a change around this. Obviously there's positive and negative aspects possible on both sides, but given the time and given the circumstances and given we know what's going to happen, it does make me question whether this would be the time that this is going to happen, particularly when we look at where this lunar eclipse falls in Prince Andrew's chart as well, and it is conjunct his moon. And when a solar eclipse is conjunct a natal moon, it often means there are a lot of raised emotions about the mother. So there's lots and lots to suggest that this lunar eclipse, particularly in conjunction with the other astrology around it, could be this portal into the global awakening, at least to the level of as truthers and what's been going on. Now, like I'm sure all of you, we're all sitting there hoping, fingers crossed, with all our emergency provisions in the cupboard, the water, our food, our cooking facilities. Should there be an internet blackout? Should there be electricity blackout? Should it be difficult to buy food or anything else that could possibly occur? We're all hoping that this is going to be the moment of disclosure, don't we? We're all hoping that this is the moment when we're going to get the big event, or we're going to be getting at least a disclosure broadcast. Now, I can't say just from the astrology that this is going to happen. I probably can't even say that from the astrology and the tarot that we can say what's going to happen, but we can certainly have a look, can't we? And we can certainly keep our fingers crossed, keep focused, keep positive, and keep moving forward as best we can. Now, as I've already said, the lunar eclipse is likely to cause a lot of raised emotions, and this can be difficult for us light workers and empaths to deal with, can't it? Especially when we're dealing with our own stuff as well. So please watch out for arguments. Please put lots of protection out there. I've done some videos on protection, so you're not picking up all other people's energies, scattered energies. It's also likely that we are going to be pushed, like I said, towards this portal of stepping through to our new perception, to our new beliefs, to our new thought systems, and moving forward spiritually, obviously, as I've already discussed, shedding the old. Now, if you find yourself getting triggered, have a little bit of a look if you've got blocks that need to be removed. Very often when we get triggered, it's about a block that needs to be removed, either a block to our manifestation, or more likely in this situation, a block to our awakening, our alignment and our ascension. Now, I did do a whole series of videos about blocks and block removal on YouTube, and the full videos are available on my membership site on my website, so please do go and have a look at that. It's also a great idea to do as much cleansing and clearing as possible. I've also done videos about that on YouTube, and I've also done the full course on my membership site on my website. This is all about moving into the new paradigm, the new perception, the new beliefs, the new thought systems, and that all involves recognizing what you want to let go of, releasing that, and moving into the new. Like I said, you can go and watch my block removal series, you can go and watch my cleansing and clearing series as well, but the most important thing is to try not to get triggered into that high emotional state, and also not to be too upset or bothered by other people's emotional state. And if you want a little bit of energetic protection at this time, I've done videos on that, and I've free ones on YouTube and also the full course on my membership site on my website. And obviously take care of yourself, pamper yourself, lots of cleansing baths, lots of walks in the countryside. That's what I do. I've been called to this. I've had things that I've had to release. Even today I was woken up at near the crack of dawn and decided that I had to go for a walk and raised my energy and did my usual spiritual practices. And this really is what awakening's all about, isn't it? It's about shifting that perception a little bit at a time, letting go of the old, shifting to the new, shifting to the new, letting go of the old, and adding practice on practice on practice to move you forwards, to awaken yourself, to recognize what you want to release that, gain a new perception, and keep implementing that new thought pattern, that new belief pattern into your life. Keep reminding yourself, just like my star anchors there, to remind you to keep bringing your thought back to that particular thought, keep bringing your thought back to that paradigm. Well, I think I'm going to have to end it there. I'm definitely going to be running out of time here. I got lots and lots and lots more I want to say, so I'm going to have to leave that till part 2. So I hope you join me then. Please join me on the second part of this video when I'm going to be looking at doing the tarot around this astrological event, and I hope you join me there. So thanks for joining me. Bye.